This is the Real Digital Transformation podcast series, empowering technology and business professionals to succeed with digital transformation. Now, here's your host, best-selling author Thomas Erl.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Real Digital Transformation podcast series. I'm your host, Thomas Erl, and today I have with me Ajay Malik, CEO of SECO and former head of engineering of corporate networks for Google, as well as the author of multiple books, including several books on AI. The discussion today will be focused on integrating AI within the business, and there's a lot to cover. Ajay, welcome.
Thank you, Thomas, and I'm very glad to be here.
Super. So, Ajay, there's a number of things that I wanted to ask you, but I guess just to set the stage for our discussion, looking at the current landscape now, moving into Q2 of 2024, with so many organizations either considering adopting AI, actively researching it, or even actively adopting and integrating AI within their actual business operations. What is your view of what's happening? Is all that happening successfully, or are there large issues arising? What have you seen so far, and what's your view of the current state of business adoption and integration of AI?
Very nice. I would say AI adoption and the impact is very steady now. People are really people are not looking it as just as a hype. People are not looking like it like blockchain and some IoT concepts that came and kind of disappeared in some ways. People are seeing it that it is real. People are believing in it. Of course, there are organizations, they are still struggling like from where to start. They need some guidance, or they want to see that they are able to have the sufficient ROI by the investment, but they are adopting it, or they are very eager to adopt it. That's what I'm seeing.
And for those who are adopting it, what type of issues are they facing? We've become aware of common pitfalls and concerns with AI around data bias, around the complexity of some of these models that we want to train for whatever the business purpose is, as well as issues pertaining to how do we manage and govern and evolve this, moving forward. What have you seen in terms of the challenges that businesses have been facing?
Oh, there are, you know what, I would say there are top 3 challenges that businesses are facing with respect to adopting AI. Number 1 is the fear of the data privacy, right? Like, where will my data go? Can I even use it safely, and my data will not be misused or made available somewhere? So because it's my private data. Okay, so that's one of the challenge in front of the adopters, and that is their like number 1 thing on their mind. The number 2 thing is how will they measure the accuracy of what AI is doing? So AI did something. How do you always know it's accurate? How do you trust on it 100%? Because it's people have seen hallucinations in the generative AI. People have seen the AI models which are like deep learning or machine learning models. They are also based on fitting the curve kind of approach, right, on the big data. So there is a concern that how do I trust it reliably? And the third thing is, how do I measure the exact impact? Like the before and after pictures, right? Like you see all those weight loss, right? Like you were here and
Sure.
now you are here, something like this. Like, what is that graph they can draw? What is that picture they can draw, so that they can look like they have made the right decision, right choice?
Mm-hmm. And for organizations that are not happy with the after picture, maybe it did not meet expectations, or maybe didn't help them achieve certain business goals that they had in mind when they made the investment of adopting AI for, to advance their business. What would you advise organizations who so far haven't achieved what they were expecting?
Pretty nice. Good question. Okay. And I tell you what is the number one challenge in front of the number one mistake some organizations are doing. They think of AI as super intelligence. They do not think of AI as intelligence. So almost right, like I worked with some customers and I worked with some people, and they almost say that the bot did not do what I had in my mind. Okay. But bot cannot read your mind. Okay.
Right.
Bot cannot read your mind. And sometimes people are assuming because it's an AI, it is smart. So it should figure it out automatically. It cannot. Nobody can. Okay. AI is still not a mind reader yet. Okay. The neural link and other things, they will happen. And hopefully AI can read what's in your mind, but not there yet. So you have to be a little bit more explicit of what you are looking for. Be very specific of what you are looking for. That is one of the mistakes the organization are doing. Like we worked with one organization, they were like, oh, this is not exactly, they were always stuck in this whole thing that this is not what's in my mind. But you know what, they were able to get over the hump, and they understood that, oh, I have to tell, I used to teach them all the time, think of AI as a 7-year-old child. you know it has the world knowledge and capability, but you have to ask the question right. If you say, who is the president, that question the child can answer. He might just answer, who is the president of USA. But maybe you were sitting across the board from Romania and you are asking a different question, right? So the question has to be more explicit, and then you get a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing, like treating it like it's not a super intelligence, it is a regular intelligence, and it is driven by us, by your questioning or what you are looking for. That is one advice I will give to everybody who is failing, or I'm seeing why they are failing when they implement AI or want to implement AI.
And I guess that also leads to a discussion about your responsibility when adopting AI in ensuring that how you train the models, the data you use, the process you follow, the attention you give to that part of setting up an AI system before it's ready for production. That if it doesn't provide the results you were expecting, maybe it's also a reason to revisit that process and ensure that you're doing it correctly, or that you have the right skill set to do it correctly. Have you seen indications of that happening?
Yes, yes. But I see one thing I see is they, as I told you earlier also, right? They have this accuracy of the results is on their mind. Okay. So they want to be sure that all the information that they will use internally using AI, or they will use it for decision making, or they will use it for interacting with customer, is accurate. Okay. And as the part of AI, this is very, very important. In their design, they have a built-in verification. They have a built-in explainability. They have a built-in checks and balances to see if the answer is correct. Do not give an answer if you are not sure this answer is correct. And they need an alternative path, a alternative mechanism, an alternative model, a technique, so that they can verify the answer. And that is very critical. They are thinking about it, and I would suggest everybody should be thinking like this. Don't use AI as a black box. If you use AI as a black box and you depend upon it, we are not there today that you can depend upon it without even thinking. However, if you are using that AI process, the software it is using in it has some checks and balances built in. It is verifying the answers, it's verifying the data, and there is some explainability. There is a term for it. They call it XAI, explainable AI. And if
Hmm.
it has that thing built in, then you will be good. And that
Hmm.
I would say people should do, businesses should specifically do, because like you have seen ChatGPT, I'm sure you have used it, and answer can be wrong. In fact, in ChatGPT, though, they say they have started putting a disclaimer, right, that the answer may not be correct. But that does not work for a business. Business cannot do that address. You know what, like there is a customer on the site and he's saying, hey, I want to check if my product has still, if I do still have the warranty. And the answer, and if there is a disclaimer, the answer may not be right. Doesn't work. The whole conversation is mute then.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that a business that relies upon income generated by its customers needs to make sure that is not a concern, that the accuracy is there, that it's reliable, and that there is no unintentional misinformation being provided by whatever the AI is driving, whether it's a chatbot or otherwise.
Yes.
I fully appreciate that. I AJ, the McKinsey global survey that was recently released had some key findings that pertain to businesses adopting AI right now. I know that you're familiar with that report, and I was curious if you could maybe share some of those key findings with our audience.
Yes. So I think one of the biggest thing was like organizations have not yet planned or strategized around addressing the potential risks of Gen AI. When you depend upon Gen AI, and if you are not really sure where the data is coming from, where the bias is built in, who is the source or who is the actual owner of the intellectual property, a business may make a decision or offer a service which it does not have full rights on. And that risk in Gen AI is real. So I think that is one thing I really would like to push forward, that an organization needs to be very sure that the answers, the models, the techniques they are using, they have rights on the data, and not just the model, rights on the data that was used to build the model. And that where they are weak, and I think McKinsey pointed it out nicely also. And that is one very important thing, because there is a race for Gen AI now, right? Everybody wants to adopt it, and rightfully so. It has so many benefits, right? However, they have to be very careful what data set it is built on.
Mm-hmm. How do you navigate the data source marketplaces or the communities that can provide data sources for training a Gen AI system to ensure that you don't fall into that trap? Like, if an organization, perhaps in the insurance industry, would like to create a Gen AI system to allow its chatbot to freely speak with others about insurance advice or and so on. What does it do to avoid that issue? Do you happen to know?
Yes and no. Okay, I will tell you. Like, is there a one answer? Uh, I don't know. Okay. But what is our answer to that is, it is the cross verification of the data and making sure that data is accessible, is properly marked, or every when they show in the movies, every, and then I don't think they ever do it in real life, that every dollar bill has marked, so that when there is a heist or something, they can track where that money is being spent
Oh
and who
yeah.
got it and everything. I don't think it's the reality. It's, I think, just a movie talk. Okay. However, your data, if your data was exactly like this, if that blockchain had happened, so that the every data was marked, The Gen AI models will be so clean. It's
Right.
not there, but you know what you can do today is you can examine it. Do not take a model without you understand, and you can prove it that you can build that model with the data. They can show it to you and they can prove it to you, and you can verify the data yourself. So especially, you know what, and now there are 2 or 3 use cases. Okay, I will say this. Okay, so business can use AI for 3 areas, if you think. One is they use it for their customer support, right? Enhancing customer support, elevating that experience. One is for adding some cool features or value add features in their products. And third is for their operations, internal use, how to do well, right? I think they have to be very, very careful about anything for AI that they are using for revenue making. Because any product you build, any service you build, and suddenly you are a super hit, you may be in trouble because you have not really looked into the data that was used for building the model or technique that you are using for that feature you built.
Hmm.
If you are using it for your internal operations use, internal productivity, I think there is a gray area, right? I would say you should always know your source of data, right? That's the right thing to do, right? But if you don't, you can have like, those indemnification clauses with the business who you are signing and everything to protect you from that. It's not your problem if you are using it, and it's the one who gave you the model. It's their problem, right? And that is one technique to do. Or when you are using it for customer support, again, try to use it in a way so that you are protected by either indemnification clauses or you have verified or validated the data sets. Because you may not be able to, a lot of companies may not share the data sets what they are using or prove it, but then you need to depend upon just legal agreements. But you should try to make sure you have something.
Right. That's good advice. Taking care of all the legal concerns ahead of time so that whatever you end up doing with the data, you protect
Yes.
yourself as much as possible, as well as your customers.
Yeah, because I
Um,
have seen that people
yeah.
think the data, and you know what? Then you end up finding that the data is not clean, right? And to me,
Right.
clean is so critical, right? There are so many companies selling all the data, which is like, so people have to be careful.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And so, what other key findings were there in that survey?
So one is more around the Gen AI, right? Like, but they were like saying that people are adopting and moving towards, right? So everybody is seeing it like seeing the value. The other thing is they talk about the talent shift or the workforce effects, like how it will change the DNA of organization, what people are important, what people are not, what job shift has to happen, what resources. There is a big resource shift coming. Okay, and they also talked about it. A big resource shift is coming because of the AI. The people who are who use AI, those employees will become a lot more valuable than the employees who do not use AI. And not only that, the employees who were doing the works which the AI can do, like the very junior level work or very repetitive, redundant level of work, you will see that even in software, even in programming, even in testing, a lot of those jobs will get eliminated. Okay, not today, but over time. And that is the shift that is happening. The thinkers, the problem solvers, the people who are creative, you will see the organizations will shift toward this because AI will take care of the labor work or repetitive work or the work which is well defined, like programming languages are so well defined, so they can be coded by AI very easily, and algorithms can be coded. So then you have to think about, how do I put the pieces together? AI can do some part, but the creative humans will take care of that, and they will use AI to produce in high velocity and high quality and something really creative. So that shift is coming.
So, taking that a step forward, what is your prediction or vision of what business will be like, let's say 5 or 10 years from now? If you were someone about to decide on a career today and go to university for 5 years, and then be out in the job market, given this tremendous impact that AI may have on the workforce globally, what careers would you recommend someone focus on, and which would you recommend they avoid, just given what we know now about where this is headed? Just your own opinion.
Okay, I will tell you. I think the careers which do not have any creativity will be severely impacted. And the careers which do not involve human touch will be impacted. I think the robotics is not there yet. So for like next 5 years, I think people are very, very safe. I think it's safe to assume robotics will not be at a level where it will, like, the barber, the chef, and everything is just replaceable. Okay, it won't be. The spa experience, the nail salon experience, anything which requires creative work, okay, by hands, those jobs will be safe for many years to come. Okay, the jobs which are do not require a skill, which is like, call center, I think call centers will disappear. I think the world is going to see a major distress because of that. Call centers will become, like, not disappear, but I think that may be an exaggeration, but they will reduce to such a small number, because I do not see any the people adding value there. In fact, there is a risk call centers that happen in, the rest of the world, right? Like the jobs move to India, Philippines, Mexico, right, Costa Rica, right, so many places. Those countries are going to see a serious impact because those jobs will disappear in significant way. I actually think AI has a very, and I know this is my opinion, okay, that AI, we have this whole concept of developing countries and developed countries. And I think what will happen is the countries which will use AI, they will leap ahead in development. So if even the developed countries, if they adopt AI, they will move so much higher and forward. And the countries which were actually surviving because of labor and providing some low end services, I think those jobs will get replaced. Those countries will go down. So those have to really figure out, like, how they reskill their labor in the country, reskill their workforce, reskill their citizens, so that those can be very useful in the modern world. It's like even the cybersecurity benefits, like by not having call center in somewhere else, because now AI can handle everything. And you know what? If I am sure that my data, my credit card data, my personal data is not seen by a human eye, there is less risk, because every day when we hear, all the data stays in, like, say, California, it doesn't even leave that. Think like this. Those kind of use cases will emerge. Those jobs which are, they will get replaced. All those jobs, even junior engineer, junior tester, junior automation, those will get replaced. It will have a huge impact on basic, I differentiate between the engineers, like coders versus programmers. Coders are like just coding based on some known facts, and programming is like little using more thinking, and the coder jobs will get completely eliminated over time. Or in my own company, right, we see like 20 to 25 times higher productivity because of using AI for supporting coding, for supporting meetings, meeting minutes, action items. They can do a lot more with less people now.
Interesting times. Yeah.
Interesting. It is tough. It will be tough. It is a change coming, like the world moved towards industrialization, and it was a change. When the cell phone came, that was a big change. Internet came, that was a big change. Internet brought the whole world together, right? Everybody, I could be sitting in Sri Lanka, I could be sitting in Sydney, but I can have a website and I can have a presence and people can know I exist and they might
Yep.
buy products from me. Internet gave the visibility, right? And so these were the major shifts. And then, we were programmed in our brain that we can search everything and data is there, but the human is the decision maker, right? Like I say, what is the best restaurant, right? And Yelp or Google, they give me list of restaurants and then I decide. But now the question is, I ask a question, and based on the full analysis of reviews, based on all the actual comments and frequency of comments and using all the data, the AI says, oh, this is a good restaurant, you should go. So now we are going into a recommendation age, which makes it easy to make decisions, because decision making is going to be offloaded. And it's a new shift. And what that means is people will have to really rescale. The people who provided services which did not require human touch, so the nurses will stay there, the dental hygienist, yes, that job is going to be there, right? Those are not changing. But the things which were like really without the touch, that could be managed, right? Those will be gone. Inventory, like we talked to a business today, they are like, they have a whole set of people whose whole job is like just making sure of inventory and analysis and everything. All that will go away. I think, sounds
Mm.
harsh.
It does sound harsh. And I
It does
guess,
sound.
just to conclude, AJ, everything that may happen, as you and others have predicted with regards to the impact of AI, a lot of that will be contingent upon what we discussed at the beginning of our conversation about how successful organizations will be in realizing their business goals with AI. If organizations are not successful, or if they stumble, or if they invest in AI systems that end up resulting in loss instead of growth, that may postpone or change the outcome of how AI might impact their workforce. They might think, oh gosh, this didn't work out. Let's go back to human workers. But it does appear overall that the benefit potential of AI is real, and that the opportunity to optimize what you do, business operation wise, and to take leaps and bounds ahead of competitors, that opportunity is real, and that we should prepare ourselves for whatever the impact will be. So it's really interesting to see that. But before we wrap things up, AJ, is there anything further you wanted to just add to what we've discussed so far?
No, I personally strongly believe that not using AI is bad for business. Okay,
We are.
I think everybody must start looking into it, thinking about it, do some proof of concept, right? Work with any company, any person, involve some people, and work on it. Okay, because it's not a this is not a fad. It's like the way software happened, right? It changed the world, right? 35 years back, things were not software based, and now everything has software, right? AI is at that level. AI is going to be percolate like software in everything,
Mhm.
everywhere, and even more than software, because it will be in every process, right? And people will create some new processes which never had software. So people should really pay attention to it and invest something in it. It will be worth it.
Mhm. And invest in understanding it, to make sure that we face the future with our eyes wide open, to whatever extent it may apply to what we do.
Yes.
um, I fully understand, and I appreciate that. AJ, before we sign off, tell us a bit more about what you do at SecoMind, and how it relates to what we've been discussing.
Oh, sure. Well, SecoMind we have our own platform. We are a AI as a service company. We have been building AI for many companies. We have companies of startups to Fortune 500s who are our customers. And we have a platform, we call it StudioX. And the StudioX platform, customers can infuse AI in their customer support, in their operations, or in their products. They can deploy the StudioX on their premise or in the cloud. And it's a full enterprise solution, so they can add AI. And it's like a kind of iPhone or Android model. We have hundreds of pre-built apps. Of course, the apps have to have some integration, like some configuration, I would say, with their own internal ERP systems. We have hundreds of adapters of ERP tools built in, so people can deploy AI and start seeing some benefits, how they can use AI in their business. That's our goal.
Super. Thank you so much, AJ. That sounds very interesting and also very relevant to what everybody needs to think about and consider right now. AJ, thank you for your time today. Hopefully we have a chance to talk again in the future.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay. Very nice.
Thank you for listening. Follow Thomas on LinkedIn